bacterium that was immune to antibiotics. And when they found out they did it, they called it a batch contamination error. In their European facility, they dumped it in the sewer system. This reads like a Michael Crichton novel. It's a horror story. They dumped it in the sewer system. I got the Centers for Disease Control to investigate, and they confirmed the name of the bacteria is Staph aureus. It's methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, or MRSA, MRSA.
Oh, you're kidding.
I'm
my
not kidding.
God.
And the Food and Drug Administration, Marsha Larkins, God bless her, is the ombudsman at the centers at the Food and Drug Administration in Rockville, Maryland, and she took seriously what I was saying, and it went to the highest level. And because of my work, Monsanto's factory was closed for over a year. I cost them, myself, $500 million in losses. You know what this proves? This proves that we don't live in an evil world, because paranoid people think they'd get killed for something like that. If you cost a company $500 million, well, they closed the factory. Monsanto had to sell their product, which they did, to Eli Lilly. They no longer own the genetically engineered bovine growth hormone.
They just own everything else. They've taken over the molecular structure of animals, plants. It's frightening what they're doing.
And, you know, we blame it all on Monsanto, and there are two companies much larger that we don't even have a clue. It's DuPont and Dow Chemical, are much larger than Monsanto, but Monsanto takes all the heat. But they've got political
But they file the patents, though, Robert. Monsanto's filed a lot of patents.
You know, and the funny thing is they write the patents in a different language, in Portuguese, and they file them in Brazil, and it's... You got to be aware of what we're doing to ourselves, and that's why I'm a big banana eater. I'm a big fan of bananas and raw fruits and vegetables.
Let's talk about pasteurization. Explain what it is to the audience, and homogenization. I think they need to know just that first.
There are three methods of pasteurization, three different heat methods. The most commonly used method for milk in America is treating milk at 162 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. And that pretty much regulates the amount of bacteria in milk. It kills most of the bacteria. But these rod-shaped bacteria, at the first sign of heat, they form a spore. And spore is a Greek word for seed. And when the milk cools, the seed reemerges. Everybody in America knows the smell of rotten milk. You pour it down your drain on the seventh day. On the sixth day, you drink it. It takes listeria up to 45 days to culture in your body and make you ill. I recently wrote a column, and my columns are free. Go to notmilk.com. You can log on to my daily column, which represents the largest Yahoo group on the internet. What they've done is they have created new diseases for us. They've created a mechanism. Bacteria isn't killed, isn't controlled. And I wrote a column recently about something that affects right now 40 million Americans. 30 million are women. Ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, and Crohn's disease, all caused by something not killed by pasteurization. Somebody did a study where they hired a food testing lab to go into retail supermarkets and buy milk and test it for the presence of Mycobacterium paratuberculosis. And what did they find? They found that half of the cartons of milk contained this bacteria that obviously was not killed by pasteurization. Kim, if you go to my book, I have a book, Milk A to Z, and you look at it's a very simple book. All it has is quotations from scientific journals. And if you go to, it's like page 7 or 8, right in the beginning, C is for Crohn's disease.
Right.
The last reference I have there talks about this, and it's from the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in 1996. It tells you that with Crohn's disease, 100% of people with Crohn's disease tested positive for the RNA of this Mycobacterium paratuberculosis, which we now know causes Crohn's. Years ago with ulcers, we thought they were caused by worry and stress. Now we know it's the H. pylori bacteria. Get rid of that. You are put a patient on the stage to recovery. Well, 100% of people with Crohn's test positive to a bacterium not killed by pasteurization, which causes Johne's disease in cows. Half the herds in America have it. The average cow, 9 million cows in America, the average cow requires $200 to $180 million worth of treatment for just this one bacteria.
Wow.
It's disgusting stuff. If I gave you a glass of milk, I said, here, there's 100 pus cells in there, drink it, you wouldn't. Then if I told you the truth, there's about 100 million pus cells in it. Ugh, that's what it is. It's pus with hormones and glue.
And that's also your experience with cream.
Oh, cream is delicious. It's to die for. It's wonderful. But that's what it is. It's pus with hormones and glue. Cream is a little bit nicer because it has all that very healthy saturated animal fat, which we definitely know is good for you. So that's okay.
Well, let's talk about the diabetes side. You write that milk contributes to diabetes. How and why?
Well, I'm not the only one who wrote it. In October of 1992, Scientific American, you can go to any library in America, they have these in their archives. October 92, where the Scientific American editors wrote, the dairy industry's slogan, milk it does a body good, sounds a little hollow these days. And they wrote that because a few months earlier, the New England Journal of Medicine reported that exposure to a protein in milk, bovine serum lactalbumin, is a trigger for insulin-dependent diabetes mellitus. What happens is diabetes is an autoimmune disease. Auto means self. And what happens is when some people, and you have to have a genetic predisposition, some people consume this protein, your body goes and seeks to destroy it, and the protein resembles the cells in your pancreas that manufacture insulin. So you turn upon yourself in this autoimmune disease, and you kill your own insulin-producing beta cells.
This is so concerning to me because children are fed these milk drinks. Once they're weaned off their mothers, they're given milk all the time. All these milk drinks.
Canadian Health Government, Health Canada, recently published a study showing that there's been a 50% increase in diabetes in children under 10 years old. What's going on here? It's not. It's not anything but milk. It's the 40% of what we eat.
I take whey protein every day. Mm-hmm. In fact, I take J. Rob's whey protein every day for a protein powder because it's the most absorbable in the body.
Dried cow blood, right?
So we'll talk about it. Because a lot of us
I just
are on
did.
It's
dried cow blood, and people have reactions to this. You take out the casein. The most abundant protein in milk is casein. 80% of milk protein is casein. Casein, by the way, is the glue that's used to hold together the wood in your furniture. Casein is the glue that's used to put a label on a bottle of beer. So it's a tenacious glue and powerful antigen where your body will sense the casein and produce histamines. You know what antihistamines are?
Yes.
And when you produce histamines, you make mucus. So that's why the consumption of milk or cheese produces mucus. As far as the whey protein go, there are many autoimmune diseases and diabetes is one, and multiple sclerosis is another. Many nerve problems and fibromyalgia have been associated, and you'll find the real science on the notmilk.com website, how these autoimmune diseases compromise the body's integrity. So you I don't know why you're taking whey protein, but there certainly are alternatives. But you go to any hospital in America and you ask the question, who occupies a bed because they don't eat enough protein? The answer is a big zero. We're fed this bundle of lies about how wonderful protein is. Sure, it's wonderful, but when you eat too much protein, it causes other problems in the body. You don't need that much protein. When I did my triathlon, my second triathlon out in Montauk on October 2nd, and the wind was 30 miles an hour and the temperature was 39 degrees, and I had eaten the day before 36 bananas because I needed the fructose from the bananas to produce glycogen for my muscles. Well, I went the next day to watch the transitions, to watch part of the half Ironman. And it was freezing, and I wore a big blanket around me, and everybody was jealous. And when I went down to the athletes half hour before the race, and there was a young woman, very skinny. She turned out to be an OBGYN in New York City, and she was shivering. And I took it off and I put it around her, and she was so grateful. And we got to talking about what we eat before the race. And she eats the traditional pasta meal, and I told her that, well, gluten is the glue that's going to have you spitting up during the race. She said, what do you eat? And I said, bananas. And this doctor said to me, but there's no protein in bananas. And I said, my goodness, I got 1.5 grams in every large banana, and I had 36, so I had 54 grams of protein. The World Health Organization instructs us to eat between 28 and 35 grams of protein a day. I had 1.5 times that amount before my race. She said, but you're not getting the essential amino acids. And I said, well, there are 28 amino acids in nature, and 19 are made in your liver. The other 9 you must get from food. And a banana has threonine and lysine and leucine and isoleucine and tryptophan. And I went down to 9. She said, I didn't know that. And I said, that's probably because they don't teach you that